All right, quick review. If we have a relation, which is a set of ordered pairs, and I ask you to list the domain and the range. Now remember, your domain is your x values, which is also your independent variables. So that is 2, -1, and -3. If I ask for your range, which is our y values, or our dependent variable, those are 4, 5, and 10. Now remember, we do not want to repeat a number that's in here. So let's say I have another ordered pair of 2, 10. I would not put a second 2 in here, and I would not put a second 10 in here, okay? Now, remember that a function is a special type of a relation. That is where your x values only goes to one particular y. So in this case, 2 is going to 4. -1 is going to 5. -3 is going to 10. And then we repeat here with an x value of 2, and it is going to a different number, which was 10. So I have the one that went from 2 to 4, and I have one that goes from 2 to 10. Therefore, this is not a function because of the repeating x value going to a different y. Okay. Yesterday we talked about making a table. So if I got the equation y equals -3 plus x, you're going to make a table. Remember, our table consists of x, our equation, our y, and then our ordered pair. The typical numbers we're going to put in is -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Then I'm going to substitute in and solve. So that gives me -5. My ordered pair is -2, -5. Do it again. We're going to plug in the next number. And I continue substituting in and making my ordered pairs. Now I'm ready to graph this. So if I graph, we're just going to kind of estimate right here. This is -2, -5, -1, -4, 0, -3, 1, -2, and 2, -1. And then I will draw my line. And please make sure that you add arrows to the end and we label. Now we have clearly put 5 points on, but this line has multiple points on this line. Not only because we put them on, but because this line continues, there are multiple points on that line. So sometimes what will happen is they actually give you the equation and a point and ask you to tell if that would be on that line or not. Now, so what do we do when that's the case? So we may start with an equation y equals -3x plus 8, and then that gives me choices and says which of these points would be on that line. And so what we would end up doing is substituting in to see if it would work. Now remember, this is your x value, this is your y value. So you're just going to plug in. So 7 is equal to, 7 was my y, -3 times 0 plus 8. If we work this out, we get 7 is equal to 0 plus 8, and 7 is equal to 8. That's not a true statement, so this point would not work. I'm going to do it again. So I'm going right here with B. So I have 7 is equal to -3 times 1 plus 8. Again, I'm going to work this out. And here I get 5. So 7 is not equal to 5. I'm going to the next one. That one does work. 2 does equal 2. Now, just because you found one doesn't mean to stop. There may be more than one solution here. This one, 8, does not equal 17. So in this one, there was only one solution, but do not rule out that there may be more than one solution. Okay. Now looking at this one, they gave us a graph. It said the above figure shows the graph of y equals 2x plus 4, which of the following points lie on the graph. Again, what you can do is you can substitute in, or you can see if one of these points would be on that line. So -1, +3. So -1, +3. Here would be my point. That point is not on that line, so it is not. I have -2, 0. That point would be. I have 1, 6. That here, that point's on the line. And then I have -10, -24. Well, by this graph, I can't figure that one out. So I do have to substitute in here. So I'm going to put that my y is equal to 2 times my x plus 4. And then I'm going to work it out. So this one does not work. Okay. Just quickly looking over to make sure that covers everything from your homework. Sometimes they may give it to you in a table format. So they may give you an equation. And they may give you a table and says, but again, they're giving you the x and y. Now, you may have multiple tables through there. We're just going to look at the one right now. So I would plug in, so 5/4 times -2 is equal to 0.5. You can change this to a decimal if you need to, or you can work it out as a fraction. Here, this is going to be -10/4 minus 3. And so that's going to be 2.5. So it's a -2.5 minus 3. That looks like plus. So that's 0.5 is equal to -5.5. That is not a solution. So therefore I can stop. I do not have to go and work the 4 to see if that would work as well. But so it doesn't matter if they give it to you as an ordered pair or in a table. You're just going to plug in and see if that will hold true. Now, sometimes what they'll do is they may give you the equation, or they may give you a point and then give you a graph and say which of the points would be on that graph, or which graph would be true for this point. So let me pull up a graph here. Let's just pretend. Okay, this point is going to be 1. This one's going to be 0.1. And let's pretend that I have a line that's going through that. And then it may give you 4 equations down here to work. And it may ask you which one of these equations would hold true here. Well, on the graph, you just need to go up here and identify some points. So here that would be 1, 0. Here, that would be 0, 1. So here's my x and y points now, so I'm just going to plug in. So if I plug in here, that one says that 0 is equal to 1 plus 2. We know that's not correct because it's 0 equals 3. If I plug in here, I get 0 is equal to 1 minus 2. So that says that 0 is equal to negative 1. That's not true. Here, now remember when we have this negative x, that really looks like negative 1 times x. So here I have 0 is equal to negative 1 times 1 plus 1. So here this gives me negative 1. Negative 1 plus 1 is 0. So right now that works. And then here we get 0 is equal to 1 plus 1. 0 is equal to 2. Now, just because one point worked, I would like for you to check a second point to make sure. So this time I'm going to plug in the point 0, 1. So this says 1 is equal to negative 1 times 1 plus 1. So here we have 1 is equal to, sorry, I plugged in the wrong number here. Here I'm plugging in 0 for my x and y is my 1. So 1 is equal to negative 1 times 0 plus 1. Negative 1 times 0 is 0. And then 0 plus 1 is 1. So that does work. So the equation for that line would be this. Now, there's two special lines that you need to know about. If you have y is equal to a number, let's say y is equal to 2. Okay? When you're looking at your graph, okay, y, no matter what x is going to be 2. So on your y-axis, you're going to find positive 2. And that means that every number across through there is going to be 2. So this means this is going to be a horizontal line. So y equals a number is a horizontal line. Now, if we happen to have x equals a number, let's say x is equal to negative 1 on my coordinate, I'm going to find the negative 1 on the x-axis, which is right here. And no matter what, when negative 1 is your x, your y can vary and be different numbers. And so this time we're going to have a vertical line. So x equals a number is going to be a vertical line.